I'm so excited for tonight's show. Things are heating up this legislative session. Dustin and I are going to talk about the latest in this legislative session. There's also an in-depth interview Wayne Hoffman had with Representative Greg Cheney the other night. It went on for almost 2 hours. We'll talk about that, and then we're going to cover the big news that happened yesterday. Boise State President Marlene Trump appeared in front of JFAC yesterday. Ron Nate had to ask her the same question 3 times, still didn't get a clear answer 3 times. And so we will talk about that and whether or not the university has cut its social justice related programs. And what else are we talking about? Well, I got a lot of information about that. We're also going to talk about Governor Kristi Noem in South Dakota taking care of things as far as social justice programs and critical race theory programs in universities in South Dakota. We'll talk about that, compare that to our governor on Steph Lucas Live. It's coming up.
Oh, we're fancy now.
All right. I'm totally fancy now. You guys did a great job on that. I'm so excited.
Fancy. Goodness gracious, that was nice. We're professionals now.
Fabulous.
We know
I know. That's my very first intro with my name on it. I'm so excited. So where do we want to start with this, Dustin? You guys at the IFF have been so busy. You've called me about a couple things this week, and you're like walking down the sidewalk. I got 5 seconds. Just let me tell you this thing. And you're running around in between the office and the Capitol. So there's a lot going on. And
a couple places to start. So for those of you that are tuning in and you love Ed Choice, I want to give you a little teaser. We're bringing somebody really cool to Boise, somebody who has been a very big voice on Ed Choice. I'm not going to tell you who it is because we haven't announced it yet. But February 7th, if you're in Boise, we want to see you somewhere downtown. The venue is still TBD because I literally have ADHD and I thought of this today and we got it done today. We are bringing somebody cool to Boise. If you aren't in Boise or the Treasure Valley, tune in that night. We will have a speech by this guy. We'll broadcast a rally that we're doing with him. And there's a hint. It's a him. I think he identifies as a him.
Right. Anyway, we should ask him, or look at his bio.
We should. I wonder if he has his pronouns there. Anyway, so there's that. That's what I want to get out there first. But I think I want to talk about
I know I'm not telling who it is either, but I just want to tell everyone I know who it is. I'm not going to tell anybody though, Dustin.
Yeah. But could somebody bribe you with cookies or pie or something to get it out of you?
No, probably not. Good. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I need caffeine late in the afternoons, but not everyone knows that. So maybe it's a possibility.
Okay, so if you want to know who it is, you take Steph Lucas some caffeine right before her radio show, and you can figure it out. Or you can just tune into the Idaho Facebook page tomorrow, where I will probably, if my ADHD allows me to concentrate for 10 seconds, I will tell you who it is, and it's going to be amazing.
It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, this is the year for school choice, and we really want to drive home the message. And we want to make lawmakers hear us that parents are really dissatisfied. To that end, if you tune in, there's so many announcements. There's so much going on right now. If you are interested in learning more about school choice and education choice, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, Lieutenant Governor, what's her name? Janice McGeehan. Thank you.
You deal with a lot of representatives and legislators. It's okay. I can't even remember my own kids' names sometimes, so you're fine.
I can't. You have 5. I have 3. I have to excuse, but
I'm an overachiever, Dustin. What can I say?
I know. My dad used to do that when I was a kid, and I thought it was super insulting where he'd forget our names. And then I became a dad and I started doing it. I'm like, Dad, I totally get
also, I gave them all nicknames. I remember that so much easier than what's on their birth certificate.
I feel like you should just give them numbers. Hey, 3. Stop.
Well, I count. 3. And I have to tell you a story real quick because now we have kids. All right, but I'll just take 10 seconds because people might as well get to know us. So,
and it's your show. You can do what you want.
Really? Okay,
yeah, that's cool.
Caffeine. You're gonna give me some. I'll do what I want. All right. So this one time, this happened a couple times. You go to Walmart or whatever. Can I mention that on show? Whatever. Big box store. You'll see a family with 4 kids getting out of a van, and I'll say, "Holy crap, that's a lot of kids!" And I'm like, "They have 1 less kid than you idiot!" Like, oh. That's how we look getting out of the van. So it just was one of those moments.
Yeah, right.
So
my wife came from 8, and when we got married,
me
she's
too.
like, I think I want 6. I'm like, I think you want another husband is what you want, because I'm not doing 6. There's no way. No freaking
Oh,
way.
but your kids are so cute. I say go for it, but I'm not
The-
going to give you family advice besides that. What's a
maybe
couple
we'll put
more?
up a Facebook poll, and the
Mhm.
followers can
I
can
think we
decide
should.
that for me. That's
Your
really
wife's like, yeah, I'm watching this. We're gonna.
no. So if you are interested in back to real things that
Well,
matter
we're
of life,
both interested in education. We're
we
talking
are.
about
So that was
kids.
a
That's why we're
really
on this topic, right?
nice transition. That was really good. That was
That's why they pay me the
amazing.
big bucks.
Yes, absolutely. So if you are interested in education choice and learning more about it, there is a Capital Clarity tomorrow, which is kind of a class that Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeehan does, and she teaches you about government, the ins and outs of how it works, how it's funded, what's
Capital
wrong with
Clarity.
it, what's right with it, which is very little. And tomorrow at noon, there's going to be this hour-long segment for presentation on education choice, which is going to be
Right.
super duper cool. We prepared a really nice a really emotional video on it.
Mhm.
So tune in. It'll be on Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeehan's page, and it will be on our Facebook page as well, right at noon. Mountain Standard Time. So there's that.
Right.
Let's get the announcements out of the way. This is like church. We'll do the
No,
announcements
but
and then we'll
here's
get to the good stuff.
one more announcement.
Oh,
I
there's another one.
actually talked to a group that is coming to the Capitol tomorrow. They'll be
Oh yeah,
attending Capitol Clarity. It's Idaho Parents for Educational Choice.
right.
And they're going to be at that Capitol Clarity event. And these are a group of not just parents, but grandparents
Yep.
that are very interested in their grandchildren's education and having that education choice for their grandchildren. And I just love seeing that generational come together, that my parents included. They're engaged, they're fighting the good fight, they're paying attention, they're not just going to retire and tell people to get off their lawns. They're paying attention. I say good for those
Yeah,
grandparents. So
absolutely. I
wanted to
can't
bring
wait to
that
see
up.
him. I'll be down there at the Capitol tomorrow, so come and swing by and say hi if you see me. But it's going to be a really good presentation. Some lawmakers going to answer questions. Our policy director Anna Miller will be there, and
Mhm.
there's some really good stuff.
And we can
Education
talk
is
about it on Friday on the
yeah,
show and just do
yeah.
a
I'll
recap.
probably
Right.
we can pull some clips. I'll show the video and stuff like that. It'll be really fun to recap that. But if you want to watch that live, totally worth it.
Tune
Take a
in.
lunch
So you
break.
guys are going to have that on the IFF
Mhm.
Facebook page.
We are.
Okay,
We
that'll
are.
be great. All
Absolutely.
right.
Okay, now speaking of education, this is
Yes.
what I've been waiting for all day, and actually since yesterday. Let's talk about JFAC. We've got that hot budget
Big
action, Steph.
deal. Yeah.
We so
We
it's so
love
funny.
this. Dude, can I just tell you, Ron Nate is probably one of the most entertaining legislators. I
Oh my
just like to
gosh.
watch this guy. He's just so energetic. So,
Yeah.
how's he involved in this?
Oh my goodness. So we need to walk back to last year. So IFF released a report, two reports actually,
Mhm.
on how social justice ideology has really captured every facet of campus life, facet of campus life
Mhm.
at Boise State University and University of Idaho, and how they're spending tens of thousands or millions of dollars on these
Right.
social justice programs. We're talking the LGBTQ Center,
Mhm.
the Women's Center, all these programs. The what does that thing mean?
Psychology or the sociology department
Yeah,
does this as well. We'll
yeah,
get into
absolutely.
that
And how
later.
it's the writing center, how it's been kind of infected, and how you don't go there to learn how to write. You learn how to be guilty as
Yeah.
a white person or something like
Yeah.
that. Like
You
you
learn
learn
how to
that
be
stuff.
an activist and an
Yeah,
anti-racist. We all know what
absolutely.
those terms mean.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're learning at BSU and U of I these days, and you're going to. They have all these um, speeches from left wing speakers, and they never
Mhm.
have conservatives to balance it out, stuff
Mhm.
like that. We pointed that out. So then, fast forward to the budget setting period, lawmakers cut $2.5 million from the higher education budget, saying,
Right.
"Hey, we really don't like that you're taking taxpayer dollars
Mhm.
and teaching kids to hate white people." That's basically what it
Yes.
was, right? It's like,
Yes.
"Hey, you're churning out these social justice activists." So then they put it in the intent language of the bill and said, "Hey, stop doing this. Stop it."
Yeah.
So naturally, Reagan said, "Trust but verify," right?
Right.
So Marlene Trump, the president of BSU, was
Right.
before JFAC, which is the budget committee, excuse
Mhm.
me, again yesterday. And Ron Nate said, "Hey, let's see what's going on." And we have three clips that we want to play
So
real quick.
Marlene's going in front of JFAC to say, "This is how much money I'll need
Yep.
this year."
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks
Ron's
for the
giving her the
context.
business. Let's find out.
Yeah. So this is really good stuff. So 3 clips. And he's asking her, what have you done to deal with this? And you'll see this, but here we go.
Last year, JFAC in the colleges and universities budget reduced the planned increase by about $2.5 million with clear intent language to use that reduction in the increase to remove wasteful spending on social justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion, social justice programming. What measures has Boise State University taken to reduce that kind of wasteful spending? I think it was $1.5 million directed at BSU in terms of getting rid of that spending.
Dr. Trump.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Nate. Boise State University made a concerted effort to be very responsive to our legislature. We really heard our legislators speak this year and in the last couple of years about their concerns. And we've seen concerns throughout the country. And one of the things we've really aimed to do is to be very thoughtful in response to those concerns that have been raised. So we ensured that we didn't have programs on state dollars that represented areas of concerns. We heard and read the legislation, and we met with our faculty and with our staff across the university. Our provost and our general counsel went out and met with every group across the university to ensure that people understood the legislation, its intent, the concerns that it was raising, to make sure that people understood that we have to ensure that our students understand that their minds are their own and they have a right to think as they wish to think, that they're required to learn material, but that they have, as all Americans have, the right to their own opinions and ideas. And we did extensive work educating our students and our faculty and staff. So now every time a student opens their login to their classroom, they see a reminder about how to report any concerns they have on our campus, whether that's in the classroom or outside of the classroom, because we want our students to feel like they have full voice. We ensured that we've always taken any concerns that we have raised very seriously, and we have policies and processes in place. And the services we provide to our students are the services they've requested, they've asked for, and services that meet the needs of their academic success. So we're very, very conscious that we've seen a lot of questions raised, and we've tried institutionally, administratively, amongst our faculty and staff to be very responsive and to really be attentive to those concerns.
What?
Was she a drama major? Is that, I don't know what her PhD is in.
What the hell was that?
So here's what I learned the longer I study politics, Dustin, is that there's a lot of simple solutions out there, and there should be simple answers. And a simple answer would be yes or no. You're not getting a simple answer. I get she's trying to engage and connect with the legislators, but that's not why we're here. When we are presenting to JFAC, we are there to give answers. This is not a feel-good psychology session. This is not a sociology class. This is a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
And she didn't give it.
Well,
so that's why you don't trust that answer, because it's
you're
not
exactly
a
right.
simple one.
And I will say you're exactly right. I think about this again, going back to the parent thing. So at nighttime, my kids, for whatever reason, they hate to brush their teeth. They
Mine too.
hate to brush their teeth.
Right.
So I send my little 7-year-old, my 7-year-old daughter is particularly bad. And I say, hey, Holly, did you brush your teeth tonight? If she gave me an answer like that, well, Dad, I engaged thoughtfully with my teeth, with my toothbrush, because I wanted its voice to be heard. And then I considered how I could make it feel respected. No! Did you brush your damn teeth? Tell me yes or no.
I can't handle it now. Exactly. Tell me yes or no.
It's not that hard. Like, that was the biggest word salad. And somebody was texting me during that hearing. They're like, hey, she talks like an NPR host. I wish she would go be an NPR host because she's perfect for it.
Right. right?
But
The
man,
government is
that
your
was a word
friend.
salad.
They're here to help you. Welcome to NPR. Yeah,
It's
been
almost
there.
like she's like a therapist. Like she could be a
Right.
therapist. I think she'd be good for
Therapists have to tell the truth, though. I mean, that's inherent to
it.
therapy. They have to tell their client the truth.
Right.
Sorry.
So bravo to Ron Nate, by the way. You pointed this out.
Yeah.
Bravo to Ron for going back at it. A lot of politicians would accept that word salad and move on.
Mhm.
Ron didn't do that. Let's go. And these
All right.
clips are a little bit longer than I prefer to play,
That's all
but I
right.
think
That's
the
all right.
exchange is important. Let's
Yeah.
look at this real quick. Here's number 2. Attempt number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and President. I was listening very carefully to your answer, and my question was about what steps, what measures did BSU take to reduce its focus on social justice programming, diversity, equity, and inclusion regarding that $1.5 million reduction in the increase. Looking through the BSU website, I see centers Blue Sky Institute, BSU Public Radio, the BUILD program, Center for Multicultural and Educational Opportunities, the Student Equity Center, the Gender Equity Center, the Center for Teaching and Learning, Cultural and Ethnic Diversity Board. All of these include what are arguably social justice principles
Mr.
in their mission
Chairman, I
statements.
object.
Representative Nate, is there a question in there?
There is. And so I was surprised to see, instead of a reduction or a tapering back of these programs, BSU actually created a new anti-racism center with social justice programming in its mission statement. So instead of a decrease, I'm actually seeing an increase in social justice programming. Am I missing something at Boise State?
Dr. Trump.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Nate, what we've done at Boise State and what we aimed to do from the very beginning was to really evolve our programming and to ensure that our programming was meeting student needs. So, for example, our Student Equity Center evolved from a different kind of center, and it aims to serve everything from our first-generation students, rural students, commuter students. So the programming evolved. It doesn't mean that we simply hatcheted away programming. We evolved many of our programs. And as you heard President Pemberton say earlier, there are certainly areas of our curriculum and areas in academic fields that study certain issues, that have continued to study those issues, but that doesn't reduce student voice or the range of faculty voices that we have on our campus. So while a group of faculty have launched a center, there are also groups of faculty who have participated in our Institute for Advancing American Values. So there continues to be a robust conversation with many voices on our campus, and we have worked with real earnestness to evolve the kind of programming that we do on our campus to ensure that it is serving all of our students.
Okay. I feel like if you use the word robust in any context, you're lying or you're dodging. That's just such a spin word. You know that was crafted by some PR doctor, spin doctor somewhere, right? But remember, after watching that, Steph, the question was, we asked you to cut or told you to cut $2.5 million. What have you done?
So they had robust conversations with faculty.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. In fact,
there's that word there. They're evolving their programming. The short answer is no, they haven't done anything.
So,
and she's using that word equity again. Equity's a red flag. Okay. Equity means engineered outcomes.
Yeah, engineered outcomes, not equality.
Equity and equality, completely different things.
So going back to my analogy with my daughter, I had a robust thought about my toothbrush and we engaged. In fact, I bought another toothbrush so that one toothbrush would not feel alone and its voice would not be silenced.
And it could feel like there were other toothbrushes out there.
Yeah, it wasn't alone. It wasn't silenced. We even started an institute about toothbrushes. Holly, did you brush your teeth? No, Dad. We had a robust conversation about whiteness in our teeth. That's what we
I'm
did.
totally relating to this. Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not that extreme, but my daughter tried that, and it's like, that's exactly what Marlene Trump was doing. That's exactly it.
Just talking in circles. Does she not realize Ron Nate is a professor of economics? He didn't fall off the last potato truck. I mean, just because we're from Idaho, I think this happens a lot, and I know we got to get back to another clip, but I just think there's so many elitists that just think we all fell off the last potato truck, and they were going to believe them.
I don't know if you can see this, but because you're not in the command center here, but this one comment, she forgot to say resilient. Yep. You're exactly right. That's totally a liberal word, resilient.
Resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's so good. So again, and by the way, let's also note that these conversations are appropriate. And there, you heard in that last clip, and you'll hear in the next clip, Senator Janie Ward Engelking, a Boise Democrat, she's not one of the far left Democrats.
Okay.
She's out there, right?
Right.
And she's objecting to Ron's questions, Representative Nate's questions.
I was wondering who brought up that objection.
Exactly. And people say, well, this isn't the place to have policy discussions. Well, first of all, the policy committees, the education committees aren't having these discussions.
Right.
And this is how this stuff happens, is we pay for it. If we stop paying for it, it stops happening. So we need to have the discussions here in the budget committee, right?
Right.
So there's that. You're going to hear that again in just a second. We'll go to our final clip. And again, kudos to Ron Nate for staying on this. Here we go.
Okay, we're done. No, go ahead.
That's cute. Thank you. Again, instead of hearing from you answers about what Boise State has done to cut back, I've heard answers that talk about increases. What has Boise State done to follow the intent language to cut
Mr.
back
Chairman,
on social
I
justice
object.
program? Mr. Chairman, I should be able to ask a question that is budget related without being interrupted.
Representative Nate, we need to keep on topic. It is budget related. I believe you've asked this question a couple of times, and maybe it's appropriate for President Trump to follow
And
up.
I'm just patiently asking one more time, a third time here, for what Boise State has done to reduce its spending on social justice programming. Thank you.
President Trump.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Nate, I would say we have evolved our programming. So I would say that matches the desire of the bill. We have evolved our programming, but that doesn't mean we have reduced the kinds of offerings that are available to our students.
Okay.
So,
okay.
The third time. What is this? Is this like Monty Python with the holy hand grenade? 3 times thou shalt ask the question, and 3 times thou shalt not get an answer. That's how I feel. 3 times. Ron Nate is just asking questions. It's a simple yes or no answer. And you've got this Democrat legislator objecting.
Interesting. So here's the thing, Steph, that I think a lot of people missed. And I think if you weren't listening close, you could have missed it. She gave you an answer. In that very first clip, she gave you the answer. And what she said was, we made sure that these programs weren't being funded with taxpayer. She said something to the effect of these programs aren't being funded by taxpayer dollars.
Right.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that
she says they're not being funded by state dollars?
What does that mean?
So they're still doing the programs. They've just found a way to divert some funds.
There it is. So what happens is Boise State University handles lots and lots of money, lots of it, right? They get state dollars, they get federal dollars, they get private dollars, they get donations, they get all sorts of cash. So a couple of years ago, we brought up that they were doing this separate Black graduation to separate or to honor Black people who graduated from college, maybe even for the first time in their family. That's great. Right. Let's celebrate those people. But we're doing it as Black graduation. Not cool. Not cool at all.
Yeah. And
we brought that up. We blew the whistle. We said, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. This is not great. This is kind of racist, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's segregation.
And, yes, it's segregation. We need to return to that, the woke people say.
Right.
Anyway, so they said, oh, well, this isn't funded with taxpayer dollars. And we're like, excuse us, what? They're like, oh, Coca-Cola gave us a grant to do this. I don't care where the dollars came from. If it's in your coffer, it's a public dollar. Because if you weren't using it for that, you could use it to reduce tuition. But no, you're using it to give separate graduations to Black people and gay people and trans people and all the people.
Right.
All the
Instead
people.
of uniting everyone at a graduation.
The other thing that bugs me about that, and about this whole gender ideology and
Right.
I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. I hope you don't mind. I
Go
really
for
hope
it.
you
I
don't
do
mind.
it all the time.
That's true. This is your job. This is your job. So, but the thing that bugs me about that is the idea of intersectionality is the idea that no matter what problem you have faced in your life, your skin color or your gender or your sexuality has made it difficult. So if
Right.
if you take a white person and a black person and they've been both abused by their dads, the
Sure.
kids have,
Sure.
no matter what, the black person has it tougher, right? And the idea is that because they're black and they have to deal with racism. I need to finish that thought. But the idea that's absurd to me. That's absurd to me, and that's why they hold black graduation is because they feel like black people have had it tougher
Right.
than white people. Okay, some of the black people have had it tougher than white people,
Sure.
but there are a lot of white people that have gone through a lot of stuff,
Right.
and I just don't see the problem of holding a celebration together in a melting pot fashion to say, hey,
Right.
you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're whatever. We did it together. We did it.
Right.
And I can celebrate you. You can celebrate me. We can celebrate our differences. And we can also celebrate our tenacity and our grit together. We don't need we don't need to separate by color. We don't need to do that.
No. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the
just-
thing, is everyone's
Interesting.
focusing so much on diversity. I'm thinking, have you looked around America? There's a lot of diversity here. Wherever we go, there's diversity. But you're trying to bring it up like it never existed before? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I will say that racism exists. It still exists.
sure.
Absolutely.
There's jerks everywhere, right?
I'm not going to close my eyes and pretend there are not racist people out there. But the leftists want you to believe that America is this racist hellhole where blacks are still in chains. It's not true.
Right.
It's not true.
Well,
And
the thing is when you call everything racism, the word loses meaning. It's so overused. And when you use the word racism and everything's racist, when there's actual racism that needs to be called out and taken care of, you really can't identify that, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And I don't know. The social justice stuff really bugs me. And again, kudos to Ron Nate for going after it. I mean,
it's a fight. You saw right there in that committee. It's a fight for him to get a straight answer. He's got legislators fighting him. He's got the chairman not helping out, right?
Yeah.
They're not letting the guy ask questions.
Last year, if you remember last year's hearing, the chairman actually attacked, and the Republican chairman actually hopped all over Nate for pushing that line of questioning, a very similar line of questioning.
Right.
He attacked Ron Nate for it. And there are some of these Republicans that are just squeamish, and I get it because you don't want to be attacked as racist for standing up to this stuff, but you're not. You're defending American values. You're defending the idea of equality before the law, regardless of what color you are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
good old-fashioned American values, but he's not allowed to ask these questions. What are so many Republican legislators so scared of?
The press. There are so many that are afraid of the press.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of the teachers union and the press, and I have no idea why. Because they're from conservative districts, but they're like you and me. Like I don't want the Idaho Statesman to write about me. It's been done before. It's not been flattering. It's not been fun. I've gotten death threats.
Surprise.
Yeah, no kidding. But I've gotten death threats before, and these lawmakers are no different from me. I don't like that at all, and they really don't. But it's your job to defend our republic, Chuck, or John,
exactly.
or whoever you are. I don't
whoever's pulling that, but no, that's exactly right. I mean, this is the job you were elected to do. If you're scared of the press, can't help you.
Yeah. And I want to talk about, I have governor envy, Steph.
Yes, can we talk about this?
I have governor envy
yesterday. Facebook. Let's talk about what state you're envious of.
Okay, so I thought it was just because Kristi Noem was hot, right? Can I say that?
You can say that. She's Kristi a very pretty lady, though.
She's the hottest governor. I mean, Brad Little's hot, but Kristi Noem, that's terrible. That's so terrible. Wayne's gonna fire me. Okay, so Kristi Noem is hot, but her policies are hotter in some ways. That was a
Right.
really good transition. I got to use that more
That
often.
was good. You got to write that one down.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good
should.
one.
So Kristi Noem is the governor of South Dakota. She's the one who stood up during the pandemic and didn't impose any restrictions
Right.
at all. None.
And
Zero.
the media was so focused on
Oh,
South
man.
Dakota. I mean, they
It-
couldn't get a break. Like, I didn't know South Dakota existed before the pandemic. All of a
I didn't
sudden,
either.
right?
I thought I'd been there,
Don't
but I
hear
thought it
about
was a
every day.
fever dream
They
somewhere.
were just
So
waiting. They were
yeah.
just waiting for South Dakota to go up in flames. The media never
Of,
happened.
yeah, and of all the states to like, I don't know,
Pick
it's
on,
just so unremarkable. I don't
right?
think there's anything in South Dakota except for Mount Rushmore. It's like,
It's flat and there's a lot of lakes. I've been through it before. They say Minnesota's the land of 1,000 lakes.
oh really? I
South Dakota,
yeah,
there's
didn't
a
know that.
ton.
Didn't know
Mhm.
that.
True
So
story.
she is actually at her colleges, the colleges and universities there. She is doing what is it? They're changing the diversity, equity, and inclusion centers to
Yes.
opportunity centers, which I believe is also something that Glenn Youngkin is doing in Virginia. He is taking the DEI stuff out and saying, hey, we're going to promote diversity, opportunity, and
Right.
inclusion or whatever, which is
Well,
fantastic.
I've got the tweet here from your
Yeah,
page.
tell me about
It
this.
says, "Good news! All 6 state universities are now following the Opportunity for All plan put forward by the Board of Regents." Oh, a Board of Regents got together and cooperated. Surprise! This
And
is
actually
what
took
happens.
action and took action.
Action. We eliminated diversity offices, which were focusing on leftist agendas. We replaced them with opportunity centers to help students succeed as individuals.
Now, I want to say this. I've been doing this for a while. And if this is some sort of PR con job, that's one thing. And we need to keep an
Right.
eye on that. But it
Right,
sounds
sure.
pretty damn good if it's not.
Yeah. A board of regents got together and cooperated. Imagine what happens when presidents of universities get together in a room and tell the truth. Fascinating.
Weird. And we're going to talk about this again on Friday because our state board of education chair, Kurt Liebig, was in front of JFAC on Monday.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he basically said, hey, everybody, those hard right lawmakers and outside groups that are
All right. Here we
yeah,
go
exactly.
again.
Here we go. We're the alt right now, right? But
Yeah, people who follow, conservative principles. But go ahead, Dustin.
yeah, he said basically they're chasing ghosts. I'm thinking about calling my cartoonist and having him make up a cartoon because we could do something really funny with that. But
Chasing ghosts.
we're chasing ghosts. So he says that there are no problems with our university system and that CRT and social justice aren't a problem on our college campuses. Has he ever walked on our college campuses? I do not know.
Has he ever looked at the sociology department page at Boise State University? Doubt it. So Anna Miller busted Boise State University pretty hard back in October. She brought up some diversity pledges or what have you. It's in an article on your website. And then this is gold here. She went to the sociology department page. I talked about this on my radio show yesterday, just a little bit about Boise State University. This year started fall of 2021. It was basically an activist, an anti-racist development type course with the sociology department. And not only did it talk about climate change, it also talked about environmental racism.
Yeah.
Because of your
The
skin
environment is
color, you
racist.
suffer more from climate change.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah, everyone knows that. So here's my point about this. He's saying it's not being taught at universities. Clearly it is. And if he says, well, it's not being taught in classes, here's the point. They have programs, okay, that are teaching these things. And let's look at it just about teachers. I had a child psychologist tell me just a couple years ago that universities are churning out teachers that love Common Core, right? They preach to them that it is just the way of the future. And I have had young teachers in their 20s tell me, mom of 5, oldest is 20 years old now, that Common Core is the best thing that ever happened. Why do these teachers think that? Because they were taught that at university. So here's my point. If you're having that type of thought at a university, if teachers are attending those kinds of courses, if it's in your mind, if it's in your heart, you're going to teach that in the classroom.
Oh, yeah.
That's my argument just off the top of my head.
And again, there are two things I need to get out here. Two disclaimers
Mhm.
for this. Number one, again, it's not like there are at every level that teachers are sitting up there and teaching critical race theory. It's about the embrace of how it works, the equity,
Right.
how the assignments are made, what they're
Right.
talking about, what they're not talking about, who they're studying, who they're not studying. That's how
Right.
it works. And the other thing is, I want to point out, we hear all the time, oh, well, conservatives just want to hide history so that they can continue to
Well,
be racist.
that
I hear
again,
that
right?
all the time. No, I actually want government, schools, or people to teach history because a lot of the racism is perpetrated by the government.
Right.
There should be
Speaking
a
of
lesson
that,
in there somewhere for
I
you.
knew we were going to get into this. We're going to have to do this another time, but I've been reading this 1620
Okay.
response to the 1619 project, and there's
Oh, boy.
so many examples. This guy's an excellent anthropologist and historian that wrote this, Peter Wood, about how critical race theory is completely skewing what actually happened in history.
Right.
I have quite a few examples. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we'll have to have Anna on and maybe some other scholars and have a really good discussion about that, because
Right.
having a discussion about sound bites is not fantastic, or with sound bites is not fantastic, because it's a really deep and nuanced issue.
Mhm.
But I think the point is, we're all individuals. Let's treat everybody as an individual, no
Right.
collectivism, and let's not think that we're all racist. So
Right. Well, that's what Christy Noem's tweet said as well. Their opportunity centers are helping people succeed as individuals, right? Tapered
yeah,
to what an individual needs, not, hey, this is your skin color. You automatically are oppressed or an oppressor, right?
So-
It takes everyone on a case by case basis.
my question for you, Steph, is:
Mhm.
do you think South Dakota would trade us? Like, if we put Brad Little in with like 5 boxes of potatoes
Okay.
and a patch of the blue turf, do
Some
you think that-
Cheetos.
no, we just need stuff that's here, right?
Okay.
So
Okay, gotcha.
here's my proposal: Brad Little, 5 boxes of potatoes, and a patch of the blue turf, and 2 tickets to a Broncos football game. Would they trade us for Christy Noem?
I think we should take a poll.
Yes.
I think that's excellent. I mean, Christy Noem, see, you throw in the whole problem when she's like, you guys are awful close to California. I don't know about that, right? So you see, it's now, this is one of those things where I say there's simple answers to problems, and it does sound like a simple answer, but now I'm going to have to pull a Scott Bedke and say, well, it's a lot more complicated than that. She's told me that before.
Okay,
Sure she did.
let's see. What else can we do to throw to sweeten the pot? What else can we throw in? A tour of Napoleon Dynamite's high school in Preston. We could do that.
Okay.
Shoot, a Book
The
of Mormon. We could definitely throw in a Book of Mormon or 2.
okay. What about
else-
all
what
the
else-
blue counties? All our Democrat legislators. Do you think South Dakota would take? That's a terrible idea.
That would not sweeten the pot. I don't know what.
There's
So,
no way.
How about this? I'll call South Dakota tomorrow and see
Okay.
what it would take to trade
I think you should.
governors.
I think you
because-
should get them on the phone.
Yeah.
And oh, you know what would sweeten the deal? That
What?
don't tread on me weight belt.
Oh yeah, that was a really good transition. You were really good at this. Okay, so we'll throw in
job.
Brad Little, this weight belt that you can win by texting 208-514-4480. Text the word belt to 208-514-4480. We'll give this one to you and order another one for South Dakota.
Christy Noem, text us. I think she's listening.
Yes, please.
I think she is. And
Yes.
she wants that weight belt. So she's
A
gonna
ski
come here
pass
and
to
get it.
Schweitzer, that's a good one.
Oh,
Okay, so-
that is a
So
good
here's
one.
the deal. Okay, I'll work on this. I'll write this down for tomorrow and I'll mail it
Okay.
to South Dakota.
You gotta
so-
get it. Yeah.
We get Christy Noem.
Okay.
They get Brad Little, 5
5
boxes of potatoes, this weight belt, a ski pass
tour.
to Schweitzer, and
A tour of Napoleon Dynamite where it was filmed.
tour of Preston, Idaho. I think that's
We
a
can
great
make
deal.
that happen. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Uncle Rico's van? Can we throw that in?
I don't know where that is.
We'll find it.
We'll find it. I'll
I
work on
could
that.
say something, but I won't. It just popped in my mind. I won't say it. It's about a certain band, but never mind.
No. Oh no.
I won't say a word, Dustin.
Let's move on.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Last but not least, before we end the show tonight, we're doing these shows to make politics interesting and to really educate the people on how it really works and what's really going on in the Capitol. There's so much that goes on, as evidenced by the show today. I mean, we're talking about, we just spent 35
We could go
minutes
on for
talking
2
about,
more hours about
we
this,
really
you
could.
and I, right?
Speaking of 2 hours,
Okay.
last night on the Hoff Time
That's a good
Report, Wayne
transition.
and I'm learning from you. Wayne and Representative Greg Cheney, who
This is good.
is sometimes a pain in the ass, who can really get conservative people. I'm being honest, right? Let's be honest. I really like Greg. I think he's a great guy. I think I think he's turned his life around in a really respectable way.
I know he likes Tombstone, one of the greatest movies ever made. That's
how do you know that?
He posted a picture of Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I like that movie. I don't know. It's just a random fact. That's all I know. But moving on.
Greg, definitely, we disagree on policy. I mean, he brought that terrible targeted picketing bill last year. He votes.
Yeah.
Oh, his freedom index score is not nearly as high as it should be. I want to say he's in the 60s or 70s. That's not great.
He could do better.
But yeah, he could do way better. And I will say, I'll give the guy credit. He came on the Hoff Time podcast when Scott Bedke won't. Scott Bedke will not come on the Hoff Time Report. Scott
Bedke was on my show last week, but we'll get clips of that or talk about it some other time. But he did come on. Mike Moyle.
Mike Moyle won't come on the Hoff Time Report. I've asked him several times to come on. He won't do it.
Really?
He won't do it. Greg Cheney, give him credit. We may disagree, but he came on for a good conversation. And I want to just play a clip for you. Really funny moment last night. We had a really good conversation. The comments were off and popping. It was really funny stuff. So let's play this one moment from, I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes in. Here we go. You're going to love this. You haven't seen this yet.
I haven't. I haven't watched the whole thing.
This is so damn funny. Here we go.
Is it that Mike Moyle seems to be the only guy that can bring a property tax bill?
¿Cómo?
We try to be serious on the show. We could be like, this is a very serious politics show, but we can't. No. Did you see Cheney's face? He's just like,
wait. Do you mind if we do that again?
No, do it again.
Let's do it again. Hang on. Here we go.
Is it that Mike Moyle seems to be the only guy that can bring a property tax bill?
¿Cómo?
That was like the best thing I've ever seen. And it's like it would go viral, but it's actually just only in Idaho. Would you understand how funny that is?
Goodness gracious. That was
Cheney's
the
face.
response. Because if you know
do
Mike
your best
Moyle,
Greg Cheney face of the question. Do it.
It was so good. If you know Mike Moyle, you don't cross Mike Moyle, or else there's hell to pay, right? It's just you don't do that. So I understand why Greg gave the answer he gave. That was fantastic. And no,
good for Wade. And Wade's just looking at him like,
and I want to make a point. Lisa, somebody in the comment section, Lisa is saying that property taxes are hilarious. No. And I think that's why we're laughing so much. Is that the legislature is so damn ridiculous about this that it's not the arena of ideas that Scott Bedke wants it to be. It's so about the oligarchy getting their stuff through that all we can do sometimes is
people in charge. We are laughing because Greg Cheney did not want to answer that question, but Wayne went there as he should. So Greg Cheney's just looking at him with that, I knew you would go there, but I was kind of hoping you wouldn't kind of face. And
the other thing that was cool is Cheney is always talking, and not always. I mean, I love the way he uses social media. I don't agree with Greg Cheney on a lot of stuff, but he uses social media in a very smart way, but he uses it to bash conservatives a lot. The Christy Zittos, the Priscilla Giddings. And so Wayne actually went there with him and said, hey, you call conservatives extremists a lot, and we need to talk about that. They had like a 20-minute conversation about that and about marijuana and about chairman drawing bills. It was a really fascinating conversation. So if you have a second, sometime, I guess you need more than a second. You need 2 hours.
Go just listen to it in the car.
Yeah, listen to it in the car. It will be on the Hoff Time podcast, which is available on all the platforms. Take a second and listen to that. It's really funny, really insightful. Greg was a fantastic interview. And there
And
were a
he
lot of
showed
really
up. I remember Wayne said in the interview, he said, I believe we voted you in twice as statist of the week. But Greg still showed up. So it means essentially he was being a good sport. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, in a day and age where we don't have a lot of conversations with people that we disagree with a lot,
that's
he
true.
did show up. And our comment section, people were bashing him left and right. That's their prerogative. But he showed up, he had that conversation,
Right.
and kudos to him. I'm gonna buy him a box of cookies for doing it because
What about the weight belt? Do you think he wants to win that?
I don't know. He can text belt to 208
We're so good.
4480 to win this wonderful belt, just like everybody else.
Everyone has an opportunity. Like in South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem gives everyone an opportunity equally. And you have the same opportunity to win this beautiful weight belt that Dustin's going to have a hard time giving away because he loves it.
So I bought another one, but it doesn't fit me. It doesn't fit me. I'm just going to hang it up in my office. That's what I'm going to do. I have really big hips, but you don't need to know
Well, we
that.
could get you like a weight belt extender.
Oh gosh,
I don't know.
I don't.
It's hard to be like 6'5" or whatever you are, man. It's
That's
rough
not
time.
the part it's the waist. But anyway, next show,
Yes.
Friday night, 7 p.m.
Friday night. We well, first tomorrow you're going to announce who the guest is. That's
Yeah.
about education. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And then what else are we going to talk about Friday? We'll just talk about what came out, the latest in the legislature, find out where else we're at. And what else do you think you have planned? Any ideas?
So a couple of things. Number one, the tax cut bill, the wimpy tax cut bill is in front of Senate local government tax tomorrow at 3 p.m. So if you want to tune in and watch that or even testify or call your senators or whatever, I would encourage you to do that. The $600 million tax cut is there. So we can talk about that. We'll talk about education, I'm sure. We'll talk about Common Core. And we'll talk about the State Board of Education President, Kurt Liebig, saying that social justice critics are just chasing ghosts. And we'll talk about whatever else happens between now and then.
And capital clarity.
We'll talk about capital clarity. And don't forget, tomorrow night on the Hoff Time Report here on our Facebook channel, YouTube channel, Twitter, wherever you're watching this, Wayne is actually going to be interviewing Representative Jim Addis from Coeur d'Alene. Jim Addis will be on the Hoff Time Report. Wayne's actually in Idaho Falls, but Jim will be here in the studio. We'll link him up, and it'll be a really good one. I hope it's as good as
I hope it's as good as that other one. I'm
so good.
Trying not to. That was good. That was great. I'm going to go watch the whole thing. Wayne is so entertaining.
Well, and Greg just nailed it with that response. It's fantastic.
Right.
So,
Classic face. That was pretty good.
Take
This
us
has
home.
been so much fun. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining on Steph Lucas Live. We're getting it together with this show. We're having a blast doing this. Dustin, thanks so much for being my wingman on this. And there's just a lot happening this legislative session. And one more time, if you want to win that weight belt, we text belt to
208-514-4480.
Very good. And also, Dustin will fill you in if Governor Kristi Noem is trading out for Brad Little. We'll find out about that on Friday. Friday at 7 on Steph Lucas Live. Have a great night.